Hello, welcome to Mr. Podcast. My name is Trey Stewart, and this is my very handsome co-host and husband, Mr. Zachary Luker.
Hello.
Today, we are joined by a fan favorite and my personal favorite, Miss Lori Dixon. Hello, Lori.
Hello.
I am always so happy to have you on here, especially because we have been talking so much about our ceremony. I wanted to have you on here to explain why you did the ceremony that you did. So if you're not caught up, Lori was the officiant for our wedding. And whenever we met a few weeks prior to go over the service, I really was like, Lori, whichever direction you want to go with this, totally trust you. Like, Lori knows I do not make a decision that I do not run by Lori first. Like, I have complete faith in whatever she does. And she gave a very interesting ceremony, I thought. A lot of people thought, but it was so good. It was a ceremony about forgiveness. So why did you go that route?
Because I know both of you, and I felt like it was necessary. So I'm just kidding. It took a moment to register there, but no, I really felt like in this day and time that when we walk into love relationships, we walk all in with love and connection and commitment and forever and true love. And, well, that's wonderful at the beginning. But if you don't have the balance of love and forgiveness, you don't stay in that connection. It disconnects.
And I love you. Someone at the wedding asked you, they're like, why'd you do that? And you were
Yes.
like, well, falling in love is why you get married. Forgiveness is why you stay married.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, it just like clicked for everyone.
I think forgiveness is given such a negative connotation, especially in this scenario, but that doesn't mean that it is. Forgiveness is part of love.
Yes.
I mean, Jesus forgave and loved all of us. So.
And he was the greatest love. He
Exactly.
gave us such a wonderful way to look at it. I also read from a very different scriptural kind of relationship. It's one of my favorite translations, and it's called the Passion Translation. So it was like so perfect for you two,
It was great.
But it's very real. It brings it out of a connotation of where most weddings or most ceremonies or even talking about love goes. It really is about the commitment part,
And I did love that translation too. And it's one of those things I look back of when I was going through school. I went to a Baptist school and we read out of the NIV version, which is widely accepted. And there obviously is nothing wrong with it. But it makes me think now if I had gone back or if I were back in school reading a more modern translation, how would I have understood the Bible and things that now make sense to me because I understand life differently, but also it's just written in our terms now. How would I understand the Bible better than looking back and going, oh, I remember, in Bible class, they taught us this and it just didn't mean anything to me. But it's crazy how the translations really can affect the message.
It's true. And when you think about it, right now we're in times where things are very negative. And so we have to be able to stay on the positive. We have to be able to feed ourselves with things that give us support. And so part of that is being able to rely on words that mean something to us, even if it's from a podcast,
Well,
it
and that
has
was
to be
something
relevant.
we said, we don't want a church service, but
Yes.
we want a meaningful service.
Yes.
And it was very much that. And it was funny, as you were giving the service, we were looking around, and there were certain people that were like, feeling a little convicted. They were like, forgiveness, not my favorite. And there were other people that loved it. But I think regardless, it was a message that everyone needed to hear, and it was a great message on love. It was really good. So will you give a few quick points from your...
Sure. If you guys are watching from video, I even brought, I have to show you, the Zach and Trey binder.
Yep.
Yep, it has everything in it from day one.
She just pulled out before we started recording. She was like, "Look what I brought." She has one of our napkin wraps. And I was like, "That's why we were charged for that. We weren't." But brought the details.
And the fan and napkins for happy tears. So,
I love it.
There were a lot
All
of
the
those.
keepsakes.
There were a lot of those. I'm going to give you a couple of just little bitty things that I really think were important. One is that in life, when you make a commitment, you are reformed into a different relationship. It's kind of like thinking of you being a piece of clay and Trey being a piece of clay, and you were formed earlier into whatever that was as you were growing up, but then you were reformed into something new to walk forwards together. We talked about being renewed, being refreshed, because when you choose a partner for love, you make a brand new life. And it's very similar to that when you make a commitment to something. I don't care if it's a commitment to a new responsibility in life, or I was talking to a woman yesterday about she led a life of being a caregiver for 20 years, one person after another. So every time she had to make a recommitment into that love relationship, or she couldn't have taken a role on.
And we had a really good conversation about this before we went to Mexico. And Lori was saying things will be different after the wedding, and you should do things different because life is different. You're now married. You're no longer single. You're no longer, you should be walking to a different beat than what you were walking before, because it is a new life now. So you are going to have things that you leave out. You're going to have things that you add in, but that's a part of the commitment that you're making.
That's right. That's right. And you guys have done that. You do date night different. You go out and you also are making sure and checking on each other consistently. Most of the time, you're making more decisions together, too. And I've noticed that change with you all. I'll hear even Trey say, Zach, I need to kind of check with Zach on what he thinks about that, too. And I'm like, what?
I called Lori a few months ago, and I was like, Lori, I'm really upset. And she was like, why? And I was like, I just didn't buy a car. And she was like, what? And I was like, well, I was going to buy this car like I would normally just walk into a dealership randomly lunchtime and buy a car. And I thought to myself, I should check with my husband first. And I was like, Lori, I don't like that. She was like, well, you're going to have to get used to it.
I loved it. Zach, don't you feel better?
You have to forgive yourself, too.
Thank you. And then I called Zach, and he was like, I don't care. And I was like, I should have just done it.
So he has been bringing a lot more decisions to the table, literally, at dinner. And this is just kind of a funny side story. But the other night, he brought, before we actually bought the pool, he's like, okay, so the pool's going to cost this much, and this, that, and the other. What do you think? And I said, Trey, in my vows, I vowed that I know nothing about money and you know everything about money. So if it looks right to you, it's right to me. If it doesn't look right to you, it's right to me. So I was like, thank you so much for thinking of me. But I don't know. You decide.
You get to order the pool floats and, help with where it goes and what the decor is. And,
Yeah, I told him what his budget was, and I was like, you can build a pool around these parameters. Go for it. And then he still went a little bit over.
Like $23. Or maybe $123. It was very marginal.
It was close.
Very close.
It was close. Wait until you get the bill for the water to fill the pool.
Oh my gosh. Also, did you know how often you have to put chemicals in the pool?
Yes.
You didn't tell me that, Lori.
Yes.
Like every 2 or 3 days?
Yes.
Do you know how much chemicals cost?
I know. Pools are expensive.
I was like, wait, I thought the expensive part was over. No. We're just getting started.
The changes, the chemicals are going to cost the same whether we got a little floaty pool or the size we got or a whole backyard pool. The chemicals are going to cost the same. So
I mean, What do you think y'all spend on pool chemicals every month, Lori?
Oh, my gosh. Well, at the beginning of the season, it's a lot.
Because you have to get it right.
Yes, you do. You have to balance the water. But, well, kind of like life, you have to balance the water. You check it every few days with the little, the little stick, and you plan accordingly. Mm-hmm. And so, which isn't that a great reference for life?
Yep.
But what I will say is it's probably, in the beginning, probably $400 or $500 for the first month.
Awesome.
Just to get going. And the humidity sucks up the water. So be prepared to refill.
Yay.
Again, a wonderful reference for life.
Yay. Oh. Can't wait. Zach yesterday was like, the water's not clean, don't get it in. I was like, you swam in like Louisiana water. I think my Dallas tap's just fine.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, so back to the ceremony. So what was another key point in your message that you felt like people really connected with?
I think that one of the things that I had written about was bringing family and the purpose of family being part of a commitment. Mm-hmm. Anytime, I don't care what the commitment is, we have to look at how it affects family. And then you look at the ripples of close friendships. And then you take that into account when you do any type of movement or celebration or commitment in life. You wouldn't have had the amazing people, oh my gosh, you should have seen it, with both sides standing up there together. It looked like something out of Hollywood, But what I will say is it was important for them to be on board and feel the commitment, because it creates a, what's the word I want to use besides ripple? But it creates meaning for them. Mm-hmm. I remember, and I'm going to say this, Jordan, Jordan getting affected very greatly because it was his first wedding to be a part of. Mm-hmm. Because it creates that electricity that goes into your family and into your friendship group.
He was bawling during the wedding. Come to find out, it was actually not his first wedding to be a part of. One of his best friends was like, no, he was in my wedding 5 years ago. And he was like, oh, I forgot. But regardless, it was cute. It was nice. It was sweet.
Oh, well, this one must have been a lot more
This
meaningful.
one was just more meaningful. Exactly.
It was.
I really love the saying. I heard a pastor say this years ago, and this stuck with me. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. And we were talking to Connor and Curtis about their wedding party and who to select. And I think there are some people that they're not sure if they should include them or not. We were sharing that it was important for us to have people on our wedding party standing at the altar with us that are going to hold us accountable to our relationship too, and that are going to kind of be those guides as we go through life, and we can lean on them, not just in that moment, but in the future, to be like, hey, I'm absolutely holding you accountable to hold me accountable to my relationship, and that's why I want you up there, and vice versa.
Yep. And if you think about it, it also makes them reflect back on their own relationships. Mm-hmm. We all know that some were strengthened. Some made them question about a relationship they were in. And it made them really make defining decisions while they were there, which I found very interesting.
I know what you're referring to. I guess some of the relationships are different for some of our wedding party now than it was 2 months ago. Do you feel like it was that made that difference?
I think because whenever you are spotlighting and highlighting that type of a deep love conversation, and it's all part of everything you were doing, it really makes us reflect. And it's why I felt that God said, Lori, you have to put the forgiveness piece in here because their relationships needed it too. And some of them, again, were strengthened. Some of them, it made them reflect. And others, it made them think about the depth of their relationship, whether they wanted it to be deeper or whether they should be looking at it in a new way.
Yeah,
And I'll
I like that.
leave that kind of there.
Makes you think and ponder.
Makes you think. So we are going to Mexico in a few hours to go help Connor and Curtis do some venue shopping. What do you feel around Connor and Curtis's wedding? Mind you, they're looking to get married October of next year, so 2024.
First of all, I love October. I feel like October next year will be a perfect time for them. It'll be a little bit different than what you all experienced. I also feel that it gives them enough time to really enjoy the journey, because it's important to go through what you all went through together, the ups, the downs, the bumps, the choices, to be ready for that. I do feel, again, that there will be people that will totally be there for them, but it's going to be a different type of, a whole different experience. I feel family will be huge for this. There's actually a bigger emphasis on family for them. It's a quieter, more connective experience that's going to be kind of encircling them, whereas yours was more of a broader foundation of the friendships that you all have, as well as family. It's different. It's a quieter kind of experience. That's kind of the difference that I would say between the two.
So whenever we started planning our wedding, we first had you on and you gave your predictions over our wedding. And it is probably the baseline that a lot of people went on. Well, they were like, one, we're not leaving the resort because Lori said we can't because we will get stranded and die. Two, they were like, someone's missing the wedding. Who is it going to be? And there was someone that missed the wedding. Travis had to leave. And you said it was going to be around a female's health issue. And so we were thinking a female is going to have a health issue and not be able to come. Zach was thinking maybe it could be one of his relatives and his dad wouldn't be able to come. We were like, who could it be? And it ended up being Travis's mom had a health issue and he had to leave before the actual wedding. So do you have any predictions around their wedding? I'm going to get them early.
Woo! I really feel that they need to keep it the way that they want it, number one. There's going to be influences, and what I really hear is...
Probably us.
I was gonna say, if you were watching that, I feel like there's going to be influences, and she glared at me. And I felt it, and you know what? That's okay.
Deep penetrating
I will
eyes.
take the conviction. Connor and Curtis, thank Lori later.
We love them, and we want this to
Absolutely.
be theirs. But I do feel they're going to trust you all a lot with this. It's not as... It's not as structured.
The word that was in my mind was produced.
Yes, it's just not. It's very quiet. It's very intimate. It's more streamlined. It's simpler. And you've got to remember to help them keep it that way, because other influences, even friends and family, are going to be saying, no, 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 we want this. Oh, you've got to do XYZ. Don't let that happen.
Yeah.
You all have to be buffers for them, is the way that I would say it.
We didn't really have anyone try to influence our wedding, but also I guess we really came on this podcast every week and said we don't really care what their opinions were. So maybe they just didn't give them because of that.
I think people got quiet because they didn't want to be someone that got discussed on the podcast.
And that's a good thing. That worked then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so do you feel any not like red flags, but any like caution flags around their wedding? Kind of like you did with ours?
Flags.
Beige flags.
Beige. Oh, I like that. Beige.
It's a new
Neutral.
trend.
Term.
Beige flag.
Instead of yellow, cautionary.
Yeah.
More beige, neutral, like that. I feel like they need to take time to themselves afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You all came back home and launched back into life. I really feel they need to do an elongated time where they're going. Once that the ceremony is finished, they need to have some time to themselves because they both have lives that are so overly connected when they get back. There's going to be demands placed on them when they come back from all of the experience. So make them, or at least suggest,
strongly suggest,
yes, that they need time just together.
And I think they would agree with that. I mean, because even at our wedding, they were the people that stayed the longest. They stayed 3 days after us.
Yes.
They stayed to like decompress after our wedding.
Yes.
Which is very their personality. So, I mean, that all aligns.
And
they are a lot more chill. I don't see them having, well, okay.
Connor's more chill.
Yes.
Yeah, he can be. Curtis can be one of two ways, and there's no in between there. But
hot or cold.
Yeah, either party or chill. And but I do feel like Connor is bringing out more of the chill in Curtis, and I think Curtis really likes that. And so yes, I could definitely see that. I feel I'm seeing very like elegant, chic.
Yes.
Well, so Zach and I very much have the same style where it's like more is more. They have very different styles. So Connor could get married in his backyard, be totally content. Curtis would prefer to rent out like Versailles and compete with Kim Kardashian's wedding. Where do we feel like it's going to fall in the middle of that?
Connor is going to get the simplicity of certain things leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
He's also going to be able to have simplicity around certain things around the ceremony. But over the top, elegant is going to be the theme of everything else. And so the way that it's designed, the way that the reception is, will be a little bit more elegant, a little less party, a little more elegant.
I thought you were going to say a little less pink.
No, I loved the pink.
No, I did too, but
and
it's
the
not.
disco balls.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not theirs.
Yes.
I don't see that for
Not
them.
for everyone.
Yeah. No. I see a lot of like crystals and just white and beige and pops of gold and more.
Almost like boho?
No.
Maybe that was,
No, that would be me.
Oh, okay.
That's very like Tulum, I think, which what Zach's thinking.
Ooh.
I'm thinking more like wicker for some reason.
I could see that as long as it's white.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
get
very
the catalogs together.
natural, very silk, just very relaxing and
Get the
chic
lounge
and
set.
relaxing.
Yeah.
That would be where I would go.
So while Lori is so great at giving such amazing advice to help you advance in life, she can also cut a bitch really well. And I always call her whenever I need to. So, Lori, what advice would you give to someone who has two overbearing friends that want to help them plan their wedding quicker than they want to? What should they say to us?
Okay. I have this approach that I use frequently and I teach. It's called the Oreo cookie. And so you want to think of the first layer of the comment that you say of, that's such an interesting idea. I hear what you're saying. Thank you. And you put the middle is the gratitude. In the middle of all of this, I kind of want to say thank you for giving us such great ideas. The last piece is we're going to take that into consideration and we'll kind of see how that fits with what we're thinking. So you take back the control of it. So you put the gratitude in the middle. Up front, you put a slight boundary, whether it's that's a really interesting thought or, wow, I could so totally see you and Zach doing that. So there's a little boundary there. Then you give gratitude. Then you take back where the control is. So you Oreo cookie it. How do you feel about that?
I can't wait to hear him say it to us. I don't know. I'm like trying to find that balance of like, are we like being too much?
Yes.
But like also, y'all need to book a venue.
We are being too much.
I think you'll have to help them with that, though, don't you?
No, yes. And I get very strongly that they want our help.
Yes.
And I know that I am coming off strong, and I know that. Wow, shocker. But my only feedback to them would be, I just need like a vision. Like if they said what you just said, and I feel like I'm like complaining about them, I'm not. But I just don't know how to help without the vision.
Then that's what you say. I want to be able to help you. I'm excited to be able to help you. I thank you greatly for even allowing Trey and I to be part of this with you. What I need is, and so you pull back the control, what I need is a venue and a date. Then we can start moving forwards, and I'll create a mood board for you, or I'll create a Pinterest board for you, and we'll go from there. Give them very direct, sequential things. And then you're thanking them for allowing you to be part of it. It's the same method.
You know, I felt like our wedding took forever, and we planned and executed the whole thing in 8 months.
You did.
So theirs being like 18 months away, I'm like, oh my gosh, that feels so far. But like also it's really not, because venues are booking out so far in advance.
And I think the difference for where they're at now currently is they have a date. There was not, when you and I started this, we had no passion around the date.
No, I called Lori and I gave her like 3 different dates that they had available, and she was like, no, not that one, that one. She was like, I like this one the best.
Yeah, there was no date that was important to us.
Yeah.
Whereas they have a date that they would really like. So that is my big driving. There is only 52 Saturdays in a year. So you only have 52 weddings. I mean, you have more, but regardless, so you got to figure that out when you have a date. Whereas again, we went and said, we want the venue.
Yes.
You give us the date. So that is what is fueling my passion and anxiety and
the urgency.
Yes.
Well, I'm
and
interested to
that's
see
why.
after,
Don't you think?
Yeah. I'm interested to see after this
why.
trip if they pick a venue then based on the venue versus the date. Because for us, the importance was different. So I'm curious to see how they make that selection.
Which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys predict that? What do you think they'll go with? The venue or the date?
Curtis is going to pick venue.
Connor's going to pick the date.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we're going to have a fight in Mexico. I'm Team Curtis. Zach?
I was trying to decide. I'll decide on site.
Ooh. Ooh.
I'll see
He'll
who's
wait
more,
till the fight breaks out.
Yeah,
see
I'll
who's
see who's more
scrappier.
passionate, and maybe who needs more help, and then who needs.
I think they're going to go for the site.
I think they are
they're
too.
gonna fall
I
in
think they
love
are
with
too.
it.
Yep.
Yeah. And they'll go with whatever is close to the time of the year they want to be there.
Yep.
That's what will happen. And they will be at the mercy of the venue because that's how much.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, if you have a date, I mean, there's people that probably have 2026 dates already booked. If you have the date that you want,
I could not imagine.
You have to secure it that far in advance. If you have the venue you want, that you have more flexibility.
Now, I know a handful of people that have secured their date before they were even proposed to.
I told one of my friends to do that.
Ooh.
They're not even dating anybody. And I was like, you should just go ahead and book a venue now, and then everything else will
find a
work
man.
out. Yeah, and then In like
Oh
5
my
years from now, you should book a
gosh.
venue, and that will be your timeline.
Oh my gosh. That's like going back to the old friend in high school that if you didn't marry anybody else,
Right.
you
Oh,
would marry
we all
each
had one of
other,
those.
you know?
Yep.
And see how that would have turned out.
Yeah.
Mine was my best
You
friend,
know?
Jordan.
See?
And I mean, we both knew it wasn't going to happen, but
That is hysterical.
we both were like, yeah, if we both turn 30 and then it doesn't happen, we'll just.
I guess I kind of had a venue though before I proposed to Zach, but I was like in the proposing position, so it was a little different. But I know a good handful of people that secured their venue and like picked out the outfit before they picked out the man
Oh my gosh.
and like had it paid for. But yeah, good for them. Yeah,
Good
they're
for
on
them.
it. They're on
Well,
it.
some of the venues, they need 5 years to
They
pay them
do.
off,
They do.
You know?
So, Lori, we were talking about before we left for Mexico how kind of big life changes go in domino effects. So, like, typically, everyone gets married at once. Everyone gets divorced at once. Everyone has babies at once. It kind of like all trickles down. Who do you feel like that was at the wedding that you met that was maybe in the wedding, I'll say, besides Connor and Curtis? Do you feel like that trickle effect is coming with our friends?
Yes.
Ooh, who do you feel like is going to get engaged next? Let's get a prediction.
I am going to say it this way. I really loved watching them together. So I'm going to give hints.
Okay.
There's an international flair to this couple.
Uh-huh.
And I just felt that timing is coming. Timing isn't quite right yet, but they're going to go ahead and do it anyway.
Like get married?
They will go ahead and get engaged and start planning it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But babies. What do you feel around babies?
I don't feel a lot of I don't see it quite yet. So for like people that were at the venue and all of that, I don't quite see it.
What are you breathing for? When do you feel like Zach and I will have a baby?
Yeah, what's our timeline?
I feel like you all need to learn to take care of the pool and be able to handle the monthly expense.
Are babies more than $500 a month?
Yes, they are. And that way, you want to be able to handle that.
Their love and care is just as expensive, if not triple the price of pool care.
Okay.
Yes. And you're giving birth to a lot of new things.
Congratulations.
Which, yes, I would say is first. You are giving birth, then you're going to. So there's going to be some big shifts. So those things are going to happen.
She's talking about like new things in life, not like out of our cooter.
Yes. So big new endeavors, big new adventures that you all are embarking on. That's the way I'm going to
I could have a baby
phrase it.
tomorrow. I would take my baby everywhere.
I would tell you to come and watch my grandchildren for
I
me.
would encourage you to do the same. Lori said last time she was on that she said it was going to be like a try before you buy, and it gave me this Amazon picture, but
Ship a baby.
yeah.
Comes over in 24 hours.
Your stepsister's about to have a baby. You could be a great uncle.
Great gunkle. Yep. I'm
And
ready.
Yes.
watch the baby
a lot.
every weekend so
You
they
know
could
what?
go.
Zach and I actually just bought this baby. I don't think we know the baby's name yet. We don't. We just bought this baby a Louis Vuitton bag. It's a girl. Because I was like, I do not want my little niece to grow up and be impressed by some man that can buy her a Michael Kors bag and take her to Miami for a weekend. Not going to happen. So we're going to set the standard high right now and get her a Louis Vuitton bag before she can poop.
She is really going to internalize that and appreciate it for everything.
Yep. And probably throw up on it too. So,
Amen.
yeah. But it'll be okay. They're cleanable. So, yes. No, but I think that's perfect.
Yep.
And she's going to be beautiful, too.
Oh, absolutely. So we're thinking like 2 years from now.
I'm thinking probably after Curtis and Connor, and you guys have some things to work through for that. And I think you don't want to add anything into the mix yet.
So 25.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah,
wedding train is on right now. We can't get on the baby train yet.
that's right.
I don't feel like that wedding train's ever going to end. I feel like
Right,
it's
but
gonna keep
imagine all the
going.
weddings. Imagine all the weddings we'd miss if we had a
That's
newborn.
right. And you'd have to like carry them around everywhere you go.
And a lot of
So,
That's fair.
Yeah. You're at a different stage right now. So enjoy that.
Okay.
Be on
Yep.
the journey. Don't try to speed it up.
I know. I always do that. Lori told me whenever I like first caught feelings for Zach, and I was like, Are we gonna be boyfriend? Are we like, what are we gonna do? And Lori was like, enjoy this moment. She was like, you will never get these butterflies back that you have right now. Enjoy this moment. And I was like, no, I want it. No, I want to get married.
And Lori told me to make Trey enjoy the
She
moment.
said, run.
Yeah.
Well, she was like, yeah, she said, make sure Trey stops and enjoys it. Make him slow down.
I enjoy things when I think about them later. I'm like, oh, that was fun.
And I just like living in the moment and enjoying it versus speeding by life.
Yeah. You're the Kourtney Kardashian in our relationship, and I'm the Kim. I've
Okay,
decided.
that wasn't. I didn't like that reference.
Why?
Well, she's beautiful. I don't
Oh.
know.
No, you're just like living life, and I'm just like, out here running.
Yeah, but I'm
through it.
active in things too.
Yeah.
I feel like she's not very active or present.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. You're not.
But no, I see what you're saying. It was a good reference. Great job.
Thank you. Lori, before we wrap up, do you have any other predictions or words of advice for our life? Anything coming up you feel?
I think you're going to feel like you're in the event planning business for a while. I think others are going to be asking you
I
to
feel like
do
that every
things. Yes, you do. And I feel like you're going to see that a lot in your personal life for a while. You've got some friends that are getting ready to go through a lot of transition. So there's going to be transition all around you. And so you're going to want to stay firm in where you are. Get yourself planted so that you feel that you're growing too. Don't just live in all of their transition with them.
Okay, so on that
Okay.
topic, then let me ask you, what advice would you have for a friend that is maybe not in that same spot of life, but has a lot of people around them that are getting in relationships, getting married, but they're just like content being single? What advice would you have for them?
I would tell them to look at areas of their life that they can be in transition of. We should all be in transition to transformation right now. The world and the timing is all speeding up. We got to be on the train or we're going to miss it. So they have to find an area of their life that they can do that in. But they also have to learn to balance it. And I say this a lot. We have to balance the doing in life as much as we do the being in life. We have to rest as much as we run.
Say it again.
Oh, it's huge right now.
We have to
rest as much as we run. So run the race, but then rest in the laurels, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It's my balance and bliss. If you don't do that, you don't reach bliss. And then you lose your joy. Right?
Zach loves
That
to
was
rest.
powerful.
He does.
I love resting.
Especially like either a Saturday or a Sunday, he's got to do like nothing because he really does come home from work every day. And I think he just walks in. He's like, God, what did he do today? And, he never knows what he's walking into.
I
But
don't.
so that's why he gets one day of rest a week. The rest of them are mine.
Well, no, now the joy that I get to come home to is what did Trey break in the house today?
Last week, I broke 2 toilets and the garbage disposal twice. And I didn't tell him until after he fixed it, but I shoved an entire steak down our garbage disposal, which you shouldn't do. Don't make that noise. No, it's a perfectly common mistake. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with the sink, Zach. I don't know. I don't understand. And then after he got it fixed, I was like, so I shoved a whole steak down there. And he was like, yeah, I figured. And I was like, what do you mean you figured? I was like, why'd you think it was me? He was like, who else would it have been?
It's when he was pulling out the remnants of this steak that he figured it out.
We had a listener message me on Instagram and said, your husband is stressing me the F out. LOL, he's over here trying to trim trees and move dirt. I can't. I just know that you're going to have to fix something. Jesus, take the wheel. And I was like, well, you're not wrong.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Is that the theme that's playing when you get home?
Yeah, I walk in and
he
I'm
walks
like,
in cautiously.
I bet.
That looks like it's in place. That looks like it's in place. Oh, that looks odd. You could check that out.
My favorite was Rue in the dirt the other day.
Yeah, he's loving
Poor
that.
Rue.
One time Zach woke up from a nap and I was painting the dining room. And then halfway through, I was like, I don't really like this. And then I wanted to paint it back. And I had him paint it back. Because I was tired of painting.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Yep. So if I have not already told you 100 million times, Lori is one of my absolute favorite people. I run everything in life by Lori because everyone just needs a little Lori. And if you have not gotten a little Lori, there are many ways that you can get a little Lori. Lori actually has a brand new book. Zach and I went to her book launch a few weeks ago. Lori, will you explain this new book that you have out? Because it's pretty amazing.
It has been such a journey. It's called Wisdom on the Walk, Revealing the Wisdom on the Walk. It's all about transformations in life. And so I was getting ready to do a new book. And instead, God said, no, you're inviting 12 women. I'm like, oh, good grief. I have the disciples now, And so 12 women, bless their little hearts, all jumped on board and each wrote a chapter. And then I wrote 13 chapters. And so I'm interwoven in between all their stories. And so the book is out. It's on all platforms. But if you decide to go on and grab a copy of Revealing the Wisdom on the Walk, which will take you through a journey of some type of experience in life, and then help you orient it to your own life so that you can continue to walk forward. And so if you go and do that, is it all right if I give them a treat? Oh, yes. If you email me or DM or PM me.
What's your email?
It is Lori at walkwithlori.com. Super simple. And you say, I got it. Or show me a picture of that book that you purchased for yourself. I will give you a free insight call, and we will talk about what your chapter would be about and what that chapter will look like in your life.
It's such a great book because I obviously love going to Lori for advice. So being able to read about other people's situations in life and then also be able to read your commentary on that situation is just like having an amazing 9-hour session with you.
Oh, thank you.
So it's great. You also have a retreat coming up, a writer's retreat.
Ooh.
People that want to share their stories. We all need our voices out there.
Everyone must be
now.
heard.
They do.
That's why we do this thing.
It's true. You guys need to be heard too. Think of all the ripples you're creating.
Thank you for listening.
Of course. But we have a retreat. It is for women. It's July 21 through 23 in the DFW area. Watch my Walk with Lori on Instagram for a lot more information and links to be able to participate. We have some seats left if you want to come and hang out with us for the weekend.
I had someone, I didn't tell you this, Lori. I had someone at the mall come up to me randomly a few weeks ago, and they ran up to me. I thought something was wrong, and they hugged me, and I was like, hello. And they were like, I have to tell you, I started meeting with Lori after I listened to her on your podcast, and I cannot thank you enough for her. And I was like, oh, okay, well, now you can hug me. But before I was like, get off.
Oh,
it was sweet.
That was so sweet. Well, you do know that today is hug holiday.
Oh.
So you have excuses to run up and hug
I'm gonna hug everyone.
random people. And it's also National Handshake Day. So if you're not a hugger, you can give a handshake.
Well, that's convenient. They put those on the same
Isn't that
day.
nice? I thought so
The
too.
hand hug.
The hand and hug day.
Lori, where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Facebook at Lori L. Dixon or on Instagram at Walk with Lori.
Zachary?
Oh, you can follow me on Instagram at Zach_Luker.
You can follow me at Trey_Stewart, and you can follow our podcast on YouTube at the Mr. Podcast. Bye.